Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the next video on photosynthesis, and specifically looking at the factors that affect photosynthesis. Let's get started on this next video. So there are going to be 4 factors that are going to go through and influence how photosynthesis occurs. Things that are going to affect are going to be light, temperature, the amount of carbon dioxide present, and lastly, the amount of water present. Each of these factors affects the rate at which photosynthesis occurs and the efficiency. And it's going to have an effect on this formula here where we input CO2, H2O, and we get out carbon dioxide and oxygen via going from sunlight to chemical energy in the form of glucose. So let's go through and look at this in more detail at each of these 4 factors. So the rate of photosynthesis first is going to be affected by light intensity. This is going to be one of the most important ones. The higher the intensity, the more the electrons are excited when they're absorbed by the chlorophyll. Now, green light is most reflected by the chlorophyll. We've looked at that before. And green light in this case, remember, is not going to affect the rate of photosynthesis. It's that red, and it's going to be the blue light. Now, if we look at a graph where we have on the x-axis rate of photosynthesis and on the y-axis light intensity, we can see that it is going to taper off to a point. So as we increase light intensity, we're going to see an increase in the rate of photosynthesis. However, at the top of that graph, we're going to see it is going to have a peak or a plateau where it's going to taper off there. So we need to go understand that relationship between light intensity and the rate of photosynthesis here based on this graph. Now the next one here is going to be the temperature. Remember, all of these are enzyme catabolized reactions, and we're going to see that the chemical reactions are going to go through and occur at faster rates when the temperature is increased. However, remember, when the temperature gets too hot, the enzymes are going to be denatured. So we're going to see a bell curve like this. As we increase temperature, we're going to see an optimum zone in which the rate of photosynthesis will occur. However, over time, eventually the enzymes are going to be denatured, and that is going to decrease the rate of photosynthesis. So it's important for us to understand everything in here is enzyme catabolized, and temperature is going to have an effect on how those enzymes go through and function. All right, our third factor here is going to be carbon dioxide. Remember, carbon dioxide is an input into photosynthesis, so it's important for us to go through and think about that. We also have water as an input. So if we increase the rate of photosynthesis to a point, it's going to level off with carbon dioxide. We can see CO2 versus rate and concentrations here. It's going to plateau like light intensity. And if we see the same thing for water, in a light reaction, water is going to be split apart, and we're going to be using those H+ ions and creating oxygen. And if we increase the rate of photosynthesis to a point with water, it's also going to go through and level off and taper off just like CO2 and just like light intensity. So this was a short video, but it is important for us to understand what are the 4 factors that are going to affect the rate of photosynthesis. This is going to be the end of the video. We'll see you all in class tomorrow.